Welcome back. It's Michael Vaughn with the first Bottom Line road trip. Yep, it's me and Lou Skeezis and the whole Bottom Line gang. Sandra Kleinfeld's out there in the control room. Janice Mackey, you know her. She's making things right. And Betty Ann Touching put the whole thing on the ground. And we came down here so you could meet some of the people who are making a difference in Canada's technology triangle. You've met some of the big players with Jim and the gang in the first segment. You're going to meet some of the real up-and-comers soon. But we thought we'd talk about the magic. What is it about this community? Is it something in the water, or is it just all those universities around? So we have brought forward Randy Ellis, who is CEO of Canada's Technology Triangle. Hi, Randy.
Hi.
Vince Schiralli is in the middle. He's president of Communitech Association, which really made all this happen. Hi, Vince.
Hi, how are you?
Thanks. And John Whitney, he is the chair of the Communitech Association. Well, guys, I mean, I guess it began, well, did it begin with the Mennonite work ethic, or did it begin with the universities? Because there is something here that's driving this community and giving people the, you know, the spirit to launch and sustain and grow high-tech companies.
I think it took both. I think that if you look at the work ethic of the Mennonite and the farming community, created that entrepreneurial attitude and flair. And you don't have to look much farther than the University of Waterloo and their foresight with the programs in co-op education and putting people in the workforce that led to that entrepreneurial flair.
Yeah, that was the early days of it. I remember when I was in university, and friends of mine did go to Waterloo, and they talked about this co-op thing. And, you know, we scratched our heads because it wasn't being done. I guess they were pioneers in that, Vince.
Well, I think that, you know, when I talk about this community, I talk about sort of the four legs of the table in which the community's been built on, and it's really the three universities of Waterloo, Laurier, and Guelph, and Conestoga College, because the quality of first of all, the skilled labor that they produce, that is absolutely one of the critical things that we need for the community, the research that's being done, and the spirit of cooperation between those four institutions as they
don't fight for turf.
Well, they don't fight their turf, and they sure provide good quality education and services.
Well, they also seem to have different specialties. I mean, you think of Waterloo, and obviously that's computer science.
Yes.
And then Guelph, I mean, that started with the agricultural college, right into modern biotech.
That's right, and of course Laurier is a business school,
Yep.
and Conestoga College is the #1 college rated in Ontario, and they provide a lot of the technology skills associated with, you know, technology professionals. So it's a very good combination of services provided.
John, when Lou Skeezis and I started thinking about this, and you know, how do we get, you know, how do we find what's at the root of all this activity in the region? We phoned the community, the Chamber of Commerce first, and they put us on to Communitech. And Communitech has been so helpful in this. Tell us about the organization and why you're in it.
Communitech is the local technology association. It's made up of the technology companies, the guys you just met. It's made up of the technology service companies like myself. And we decided about 2.5 years ago to put together a group of people. There was about 35 founding members that decided to create an entity called Communitech to look after the betterment of this area, to let the technology people grow, to let the area grow, and to be a spokesman so guys like you would hear the message coming down the highway.
Loud and clear. What services beyond sort of the marketing do you do? What can you do concretely for me as an aspiring entrepreneur?
Well, no, there's several things. I mean, in addition to the obvious advocacy that we do to provide knowledge about the area, we run regular networking and education events. Once a month, we bring between 200 to 400 people to the community together, and we've had people like Michael Copeland and John Wetmore from IBM, and we've had Jim Bosilli speak. And this is
he can fill a room anywhere in the continent.
He sure can.
Yeah.
Well, we had him when he wasn't so big, and he still comes out. But that's one thing. We have something we call peer-to-peer groups, where we put once a month a series of CFOs or CEOs, let's call the CEO group, get together, and they sit for an hour and a half, and they sit around a room, and it's very, very informal, and they talk about things that are very specific to their job. So whether it be, you know, how do you find people, how do you handle going public or financing, and these are Communitech value-added only programs, and so it's an excellent service. Plus the fact that we work on communications. Last November, we worked with Randy and his organization, the CTT, to bring something called a telecommunications summit together. We brought all of the players together, the Bells and AT&Ts, and provided an excellent opportunity to show, what can be done in the communications area. So there's a few of the things we do.
Those are helpful. Randy, it's sort of the history in Canada. If there's going to be a development of factory jobs, and this community competes with that community, and they offer more incentive than the other community down the road. You've got several cities in this region. Is there any of that cutthroat attitude about it?
No, I think that's what's so great again about the whole community, their attitude. It's not us and them, it's we. And you bring 4 cities that have a diverse economy.
But different tax bases. I'd like to have that over on this side of my constituency.
They think about that because there still is that separate municipality. But the thing is, if you're looking to market a product or an area, they realize that this is known as one labor force. It's one community from the point of view that our strengths and our sectors are broad-based in all areas. So advanced manufacturing one area, to information technology, to biotech and ag food. They share that labor force, and the connectivity of that whole community is created by, therefore, putting your best foot forward and marketing yourself in a way that is proactive and not reactive and not us and them. And if you start reading from the same page of the same book, pretty soon you're telling the same story, and you're talking the same talk and walking the same walk, and we're going someplace.
Going somewhere. Well, and we're not going to Palo Alto. I mean, that's the good thing, too.
Hoping.
I mean, there's so much opportunity. I mean, I don't think, this region has to compete with Kanata or with Calgary. I mean, when you see the opportunities in the new economy, there is room for everybody if you've got the brain power and the gumption to go after it.
I think the thing that's really important is that obviously the skills labor force is absolutely critical, and the concern that we may be losing some of our brighter and better folks south will always be an issue with tax concerns. But what we have here is more than just a pay packet. Isn't just the dollars. And then you talk about some of the entrepreneurs here. There are a lot of very wealthy young folks who have invested in companies, who have seen them grow. There's a lifestyle here, from the Mennonites to the opera and all of the other things that are available in a city that, by the way, is only an hour away from the financial capital of Canada, being Toronto. So you don't have to live in Toronto and still get those skills.
And they're burning up the highway to get down here right now.
Well, I'll tell you.
They'll come to you.
When you think that it's usually a 10 or 15-minute drive to anywhere in the CTT. And I used to live in Toronto, and that kind of time you spend on the highway going back and forth to work, you don't miss those things.
No.
Those are real quality improvement times, and this is what you can get in this community.
Well, there's a buzz in this community, I'll tell you. I want to thank you guys, John Whitney and Vince Schiralli and Randy Ellis, for telling us about it. We're going to tell you about some advanced manufacturing technology that's happening in the region right after this.